Now, American Conservative Union Chairman Matt Schlapp and Elizabeth Harrington, staff writer at the Washington Free Beacon. Good to have you both with us. He says nobody better than him on trade, Elizabeth. He almost, is suggesting that all those Bernie supporters should immediately run to him.
Look,
and he's been doing it since his acceptance speech.
Absolutely. I think it's a smart strategy for him because there's clearly lots of overlap between Bernie supporters and Trump. You had Bernie supporters yelling, "Lock her up" today. They're stealing the GOP slogan during the convention. So I think lots of Bernie Sanders supporters are going to stay home. I think some will vote third party, but I think some will go to Trump because there's lots of overlap on some of these issues.
I was surprised, frankly, that Trump made that overt, direct pitch. I mean, in his acceptance speech. But, like everything else with Trump, it has a purpose and it succeeds in at least part. Now, with everything that's happened with Bernie Sanders and the rift in the Democratic Party between their Democratic National Committee, I mean, he looks like he was prescient.
On all these things. I mean, when he said the system was rigged, some people say, "Oh, come on, is it really rigged?" It was rigged. He has what he has.
A few of those snooty political, sophisticated saying, "Oh, please, don't be such children."
It was rigged. And the other thing is, he's not a politician, but he has great political instincts. He really does. And I think the reason why he has great political instincts is because he talks to a lot of people and he's perceptive. And I think that's one of the most important things in politics. Juxtapose Hillary Clinton to this. I mean, she just does not seem to really enjoy the company of her fellow Americans.
What do you make, Elizabeth, of this stuff that the Clinton campaign came up with about the Russians being involved? Actually, a number of people saying released the emails that they had hacked, when in point of fact it was WikiLeaks. Some people saying Julian Assange. I mean, even conservatives are saying, maybe we ought to start thinking about a pardon for the guy. They're so thrilled with the impact.
Well, exactly, and I think it's funny because the Clinton campaign, their immediate instinct is to blame Republicans. And just like with all these scandals you've seen with Hillary Clinton, oh, she didn't do anything wrong. It's the vast right-wing conspiracy. It's the mean Republicans in the House that are investigating me. It's the same instinct here with the DNC leak. Oh, we didn't have the right security for this hack, but we're going to blame Republicans, and somehow it's Republicans' fault.
Michelle Obama here tonight. She a big job to do. Elizabeth Warren talking tonight as well. What do you expect to hear from them, and what do you think would make them most effective?
I think this is all about, before the leaks, it was all about rallying the progressive base of the party. Michelle Obama and Barack Obama has great numbers still with Democrats.
Amazing approval numbers.
Yeah, and mediocre with the country, but great with Democrats. He's a hero for them, and Michelle Obama's beloved. So it's rallying all these people together. And I think it's so interesting that it happens on top of the leaks, because the cleavages in this party are so obvious. And, it's interesting. The room is pretty dead. There doesn't seem to be a lot of excitement. Maybe they're building up for these big speeches, but I think there's some tension here. Can they pull together? There was a lot of talk about Republicans in Cleveland. Let me tell you, nothing like the problems that are here.
It is strange, and I can't, as we think back to Cleveland last week, though all of the national liberal media had it exactly wrong. Talking about the dark mood, talking about all the friction and the fissures. And I think, are we oversitting it ourselves here in Philadelphia as well, where we're looking at these problems that seem colossal? In point of fact, many, and I would have to say I share this view, I don't see how they bring the party together, certainly not tonight. I think the Bernie Sanders speech may turn out to be just as important, perhaps, as any speech we hear tonight, with the exception of Hillary's speech Thursday.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the never Hillary is a bigger problem for the Democrats than the never Trump would ever be for Republicans. Just look, and yes, I understand how the media overblew the Republican convention. But here, if you just look at the protesters, there were no protesters in Cleveland. It was very small. Here you have scores of Bernie supporters that are saying never Hillary. her, and I think that is a problem, and I honestly don't think this Bernie speech is going to help much. I mean, you saw earlier today he got booed when he said we need to elect Hillary.
Yeah, he's getting booed. I can't imagine the potential here for hell zapopping with other candidates as well and other speakers as well. Certainly not the First Lady. She's very popular. And in this crowd, I think Elizabeth Warren will be as well. But Bernie Sanders is a big, big question. To the issue of the nominee herself, this most recent poll shows she has got a worsening perception of her as a dishonest and certainly not a trustworthy person.
You know, Lou, it's 20 years of the voters watching the Clintons, and that cake is baked. There's very little Hillary can do to make her negatives better. They can still get worse, and I think that's what we're seeing. The issue with Donald Trump and his negatives are they're still moving. People are still trying to figure out this guy. Do they really want to be with him or do they not? I think even people that might say they don't like everything about Donald Trump are still going to vote for him because they think his message is what we need for the country.
And the message that we've got to have here, it seems to me, at least in part in Philadelphia, for Hillary to do well is that she's going to move either left to appease the Bernie Sanders crowd supporters, or she's going to move to the center to prepare for the general election. I don't know what she does caught in that dilemma.
Exactly, and the left is already upset with the Tim Kaine pick. They don't think he's progressive enough. So she's really in a difficult position because she almost has to go left to shore up all these Bernie and Elizabeth Warren wing of the party. But at the same time, that hurts her in the general because, honestly, the electorate is more centered.
It must be hard to be soulless.
We're going to take a break here. Elizabeth, thank you very much.